NFL shock Browns alert. Rookie Shedeur. The Cincinnati Sanders Bengals just are reportedly the entire pressuring the league to force insiders he's already better than multiple just starting quarterbacks after the rookie quarterback. League owners are reportedly straight about his practice reps, and the fallout could change Cleveland's forever. Bomb ignite a bidding war that could change the AFC forever.
Then I'll be out there and I'll be ready to play. So I'm ready to play right now. I know if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that.
I guess the question was, what do you think of the Browns' rush defense?
Yeah.
And his answer was, well, they haven't seen a running game like us yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as soon as Schwartz walks in, I went right to it and said, repeated the quote, what's your comment?
Yeah.
And Schwartz is too savvy, but you could tell his blood was boiling.
Really?
And I think he loved it because I think he will definitely use it in his team meetings to doubly motivate his.
NFL owners across the league are reportedly furious after Shedeur Sanders dropped a bombshell that has sent shockwaves through Cleveland and beyond. The third-string Browns quarterback just declared he's capable of doing better than starting quarterbacks currently playing in the NFL. And the fallout is already massive. While his teammates are celebrating one of their biggest wins of the season, Shedeur's comments have completely hijacked the narrative, with experts calling his timing tone-deaf and warning that he's just added fuel to every detractor waiting for him to fail. But here's the thing. What if Shedeur is actually right? And what if this controversy is exactly what he needed to finally get his shot?
That was interesting to say the least. Bart, I mean, what do we say about that?
Well, that's not your line, right? Your line is just to say, hey, I'm here trying to get better. I'll be ready. I'm just going to try and do my best. You got to kind of get better in silence. And you have to realize that sometimes you got reporters just sitting around and they'll put a camera in your face. You think they're your friend. You feel good because you're getting some attention because you're not the starting quarterback, and you just say stuff, not realizing that it blows up to stuff like this. And the last time we saw him in the playoff, in the preseason against guys that are probably, pumping gas right now, he didn't look so good. So he needs to just say, listen, just improve and don't poke the bear.
Rex always used to say anything you want, just name 2 teammates and a coach.
Pass pressure.
Yeah, definitely. Injury updates, Tony. It seems like the Browns are actually super healthy. Everybody practiced today, right?
Yeah, Batonio said he's much better this week than last week, and he played last week. Conklin, we'll see if he was limited today. If he is, that's fine. It's still progress that he's back practicing. He'll still be determined day to day. Denzel Ward told us he's fine. He just kind of chuckled about his.
What happened yesterday on ESPN's Get Up has every NFL front office talking, and not in a good way. When Shedeur Sanders sat down for what should have been a routine interview, nobody expected him to basically call out half the starting quarterbacks in the league. But that's exactly what he did, and the reaction has been absolutely wild.
Yeah, I want so badly for him to get a chance this year to show what he can do, and things like this, they make me mad just because they add fuel to all the people who are going to be detractors of his, because it's obviously a mistake. It goes without saying. That's something he shouldn't say, and he...
When he broke his leg in two spots. Yeah. So Hutchinson is kind of a quiet player who deserves to be in that Parsons, Garrett, Watt discussion. So I think that's good for the Browns, that there's an opponent, who...
There's Shedeur, the 5th-round pick who's been riding the bench in Cleveland, looking directly into the camera and saying, I know if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that. Boom. Just like that, he threw down the gauntlet. Now, before we dive into the absolute chaos this created, let's talk about what led to this moment. The Browns just came off an incredible win against the Green Bay Packers, one of their biggest victories of the season. The rookies on that team are balling out. We're talking about Mason Graham making plays, Carson Schwessinger stepping up, and guys like Judkins and Sampson contributing at levels nobody expected. These guys are getting it done, making their mark, and should be getting all the spotlight. But instead of celebrating his teammates, instead of talking about the team's success, Shedeur decided this was the perfect moment to make it all about him. And man, did it backfire spectacularly. The expert panel on Get Up didn't hold back. Bart Scott, who's never been one to sugarcoat anything, basically tore Shedeur apart. He said, and I quote, "That's not your line, right? Your line is just to say, hey, I'm here trying to get better. I'll be ready. I'm just going to try and do my best." You got to kind of get better in silence. But here's where it gets even more brutal. Scott pointed out something that should make every Shedeur supporter cringe. The last time we actually saw him play meaningful snaps was in the preseason, and he didn't exactly light the world on fire against guys who, as Scott put it, are probably pumping gas right now. That's a devastating blow right there. You're telling me Shedeur struggled against third and fourth string players who aren't even in the league anymore. But he thinks he's better than starting quarterbacks? The optics on that are just terrible. And then the analysts really started piling on. They called his comments tone-deaf. And honestly, that might be putting it nicely. Here's a guy who's a fifth-round pick. Hasn't played a single meaningful snap in the regular season. And he's out here making bold declarations about being better than established starters. But you know what? Let me flip the script for a second, because there's another side to this story that nobody's talking about. And this is why I think Shedeur might actually be playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, the timing was questionable. Yes, it overshadowed his teammates' success. But have you actually looked at some of the quarterback play around the league this season? Because if you have, you might start to understand where Shedeur is coming from. We've got quarterbacks throwing pick sixes left and right. We've got guys who can barely complete 60% of their passes getting starter money. We've got supposed franchise quarterbacks who look lost when their first read isn't there. So when Shedeur says he thinks he can do better, is he really that wrong? Let's talk about what we actually know about Shedeur Sanders. This isn't some random guy who got lucky. This is a quarterback who threw for over 8,000 yards and 70 touchdowns in his final 2 college seasons. This is a guy who led Colorado to some of their biggest wins in years. This is someone who's been preparing for this moment his entire life, under the guidance of arguably one of the greatest athletes of all time. And here's something that's been bothering me about this whole situation. Why is everyone so quick to tear him down? The man expressed confidence in his abilities. In a league where quarterbacks need to have that elite mentality, that unshakable belief in themselves, we're criticizing him for having exactly that? Think about it. Every great quarterback in NFL history has had moments where they believed they were better than the guy in front of them. Tom Brady believed he was better than Drew Bledsoe. Aaron Rodgers believed he was better than Brett Favre. Patrick Mahomes believed he was better than Alex Smith. The difference is, those guys eventually got their shot to prove it. Shedeur hasn't gotten that shot yet. And that might be exactly why he's speaking up now. Here's what I think is really happening behind the scenes. The Browns organization knows they have something special in Shedeur. They drafted him for a reason. They see him in practice every day. They know what he's capable of. But they're also trying to manage a team that's fighting for playoff positioning, and making a quarterback change right now could disrupt everything they've built. So Shedeur is stuck in this impossible position. He's good enough to start somewhere, maybe not in Cleveland right now, but definitely somewhere in this league. He knows it, the coaches probably know it, and now the entire world knows he believes it. The expert on the panel mentioned something that really stuck with me. They said Shedeur should have just kept quiet, improved in silence, and waited for his opportunity. But here's the thing. Sometimes in the NFL, if you don't speak up for yourself, nobody else will. Sometimes you have to create your own opportunities. And let's be honest about something else. The reaction to Shedeur's comments has been way more intense than it would be for any other quarterback. There's definitely an element here where people are looking for reasons to tear him down, to prove that the hype around him and his family was overblown. But every time they try to diminish him, every time they say he's not ready or that he needs to know his place, Shedeur just keeps showing that championship mentality. That's not arrogance, that's confidence. And in a league where quarterbacks need to lead grown men into battle, confidence isn't optional. The other thing that's been bugging me about this whole controversy is how quickly everyone forgot about context. When Shedeur made those comments, he wasn't randomly calling out specific players. He was answering a direct question about his playing status. The interviewer basically asked him if he was ready to play, and he said yes, he's ready, and he believes he can perform at a high level. Isn't that exactly what you want your backup quarterback to say? Would you rather have a guy who's like, yeah, I'm pretty mediocre? Probably couldn't beat out anyone? Of course not. You want a competitor. You want someone who believes in themselves. But here's where the story gets really interesting, and this is the part that makes me think Shedeur is way smarter than people are giving him credit for. Those comments didn't just create controversy. They created conversation. They put his name back in the headlines. They reminded every NFL team that he exists and that he's confident in his abilities. He's confident in his abilities.
To that before they played the Browns. I don't think any coach will let them be trapped by the Browns defense after that Green Bay game.
Definitely. All right, so you also heard from Tommy Rees. I'm sure, I didn't get to listen to most of it, but I'm sure the quarterback situation and the chemistry and all that was kind of like probably a focus of the talk with him today.
Right now, there are probably general managers around the league who are taking a second look at Shedeur Sanders. There are probably coaches who are asking themselves, what if this kid is right? What if he could help our team? And there are definitely teams out there struggling with quarterback play who might be interested in giving him a shot. The Browns are sitting pretty with their current situation, but not every team is. Look around the league. There are starting quarterbacks who are clearly not the answer for their franchises. There are teams that are one quarterback away from being legitimate contenders. And now they're all hearing that Shedeur Sanders thinks he's better than what they currently have. That's not tone deaf. That's strategic. And let's talk about what happened after those comments for a minute. The expert panel absolutely roasted him, social media went crazy, and every talking head in sports had an opinion. But you know what else happened? Every single person talking about it had to acknowledge his talent level. Even while they were criticizing him, they were talking about his potential. That's the kind of publicity you can't buy. That's the kind of attention that gets you noticed in a league where talent often goes overlooked if you're not making noise. Now, I'm not saying Shedeur handled this perfectly. The timing could have been better. He could have been more diplomatic in how he expressed his confidence. But at the end of the day, this is a young man who believes in himself and isn't afraid to say it. And honestly, in a league full of guys who are afraid to take risks, who are scared to speak up, who just go along with whatever the organization tells them, maybe we need more players like Shedeur Sanders. The Browns are in an interesting position right now. They've got a veteran quarterback situation that's working for them in the short term, but they also have this young talent waiting in the wings. And now, thanks to these comments, everyone knows that talent is ready to take advantage of any opportunity that comes his way. Here's my prediction. This controversy is going to end up being the best thing that could have happened to Shedeur's career. It's going to force the Browns to either give him more opportunities to prove himself, or it's going to create interest from other teams who might be willing to trade for him. Either way, Shedeur wins. He's not going to be stuck holding a clipboard forever, wondering what might have been if he'd just spoken up for himself. The reality is, the NFL is a business, and sometimes you have to market yourself. Sometimes you have to create your own opportunities. Sometimes you have to be willing to ruffle some feathers to get where you want to go. And right now, Shedeur Sanders has everyone's attention. The question isn't whether he should have said what he said. The question is what he's going to do with this opportunity now that he has it. Because make no mistake about it, this is an opportunity. Every great quarterback story has a moment where the player had to believe in himself when nobody else did. Every franchise quarterback has had to overcome doubt and criticism and prove that they belong. Maybe this is Shedeur's moment. Maybe this is where his story really begins. The experts can call it tone deaf all they want. The analysts can say he should have stayed quiet. But at the end of the day, we're all talking about Shedeur Sanders right now. And in the NFL, sometimes that's exactly what you need. So here's the real question. When Shedeur eventually gets his shot, and trust me, he will get his shot, are you going to remember these comments as the moment a young quarterback showed unshakable confidence, or as the moment he made a mistake? Because something tells me when he's throwing touchdown passes and leading a team to victories, those comments are going to look a lot more like prophecy than arrogance. What do you think? Was Shedeur wrong to speak up? Or is this exactly the kind of mentality we should want from our quarterbacks? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. We're just getting started with this story, and I have a feeling it's about to get a whole lot more interesting. The NFL season is far from over, and neither is Shedeur Sanders' story. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.